So, I get very mad at this. We'll get that in a moment, but first let's do this one. How do I translate? There we go. Okay, so. Okay, there we go. Like, the thing, I get what it means. He's like, I just wanted to do it, but don't say art doesn't need a justification, say I felt like it. Because if you say art doesn't need a justification, that is a vast overestimation of your skills in most situations, especially if you just tried it. Like, the thing is, you don't say it like that. If you're an acknowledged artist, if like people say at large, yeah, this guy makes good shit, then fine, you're a definer of art. But you can't just say art doesn't need a justification. Like, what the fuck are you, some pompous bitch who's earning his art degree? That doesn't help you become a better artist. Art just happens. And you're part of it, or you want to do it. But you don't say art doesn't need a justification. That's like saying science doesn't need a justification. No! It's because you're fucking curious! And you want to know! And that's what humans are like! Don't pretend science is the person pushing you. It's you. It's your desire. If you say art doesn't need justification, you're also pulling yourself away from having any personal agency in the situation. So it's one of that artsy smarty stuff that I hate. So I'm going to translate it. It captures the same feel. You don't need a reason to make art. You don't need a reason to make art. The thing about this that gets me is he's like, you can draw on a computer too. Oh yeah, and probably a lot easier since you don't have to buy clay or stone or hew any of it. Like, sure, the software might be a bit more difficult to use, but generally speaking, the lack of necessity for physical space and the room for error benefits. Like, here's a good tip, by the way, if you want to make sure that you're, like, the IC part, like, if you need that, here's a tip. Translate it to a line that doesn't sound as good, and think, do I want to keep this line now? Instead of IC's like, okay, and just make it as annoying as possible, and then go back and say, do I need to keep this? Like, is this critical for the plot? No. The amount of time people say, that's interesting, or, I see. There are points where you could just omit it. I know that you're trying to keep the interest going, and that in real life you would. But it's subtle, and it's usually not, like, the draw of a plot point. You can make it a character trait, that someone just says, I see a lot, and everyone's like, why do you say it like that? Like, why don't you just... Like, most people just nod and whisper and say, yes, okay, go on. But all they say is, I see. There's no acknowledgement, there's no further questioning, there's no, like, direction to any of it, just like, I see. Well, good! You have eyes! Everyone sees! Okay, something else that I kind of want to point out is this is an alleyway. I don't know if this is a lot, but I do feel that Lorem has a lot of, like, unique environments associated with him. He gets this picture of the forest, he gets this picture of the forest. I think a darker version of this one is used for Izumi later down the line. He gets the second alley, called School. Like, it's just kind of goofy that there's this outside in the first place. There's a whole bunch of taps, which is... Where? I've never seen that, ever. So I'm kind of confused. Also, this very nice... That's... Like, it's a very strangely industrial alleyway for what it is. And this half-finished building with supports visible, It's just kind of a weird alleyway to hide something, you know? And no sound effect for the map, which is kind of weird, despite implying that Lorem is any in the map. Like, here's the thing. In some of these, you have to always realize that some things can only be done once, and eventually the players are going to pick an option. And you want to make sure they always see as many options as possible. The downside of this is if you do them in order and it's the last one that's the one, then people are always going to pick the last one first, because they're like, oh, eventually in the middle there might be one that, you know, like at some point you're going to basically be fighting the player. What did they call this again? Lichamelijke opvoeding, as in, yeah. It's kind of weird. Like, I'd like to imagine that Lorem doesn't actually need anyone for this. He just doesn't want to be alone or wants to have a friend. Like, the weird thing about Lorem is that he's apparently very busy, but at the same time he finds time for this. Despite being someone who's like, I don't want to make friends because friends won't like me. Is, again, one major problem I have with Lorem is this day it's good, and so far I'm liking it, but like from a pure like character logistics point of view, it doesn't really make any logical sense for this day to take place like this. Because Lorem has no reason to try to make friends. Like, maybe he's hopeful, maybe the first 2 dates are like, this is a way for him to establish that you might be nice. But the way he's so negative about it towards the end, it makes it sound like he doesn't even have hope in his own little scheme. Also, I had a very strange dream, where I was a little bird, who had problems with a cat world, and then tried to plant a bomb in the most residentially full area possible. And then I was like, you know what, I'm not gonna do this. And then didn't do it. It was a weird dream. I did like the place that was my hideout. It was a very nice abandoned place. It had an amusement park ride that didn't work. But I could fly, in a very strange, stupid way. I think I was actually becoming lucid to some extent. Because I was having conscious thoughts about like how birds work. It was like, well, birds have to flap at a certain speed in order to keep flying. Man! Am I slowly but surely attaining the power of lucidity? Wow, I can't believe I'm making progress. I am remembering my dreams better. I do need to write it down. That's the one step I'm forgetting. The windows is kind of a stupid guess, though. Oh, those windows. Like, I guess. Here's the thing, though. As Dungeons & Dragons has taught me, and some research on my own, the bigger the bird is, the more difficult it is to actually fly stationary, because movement forward allows for better gliding. And, like, I'm not going to say Dungeons & Dragons is a great, like, resource for this stuff, but if you're trying to fly stationary, how do you fly stationarily? How do you stay in place? You need to move forward and backwards in all directions at once to do that. And gravity keeps you down, but if you flap your wings like this, where people blow it forward, that implies you're going backwards. Hovering is really hard. I can't imagine how hummingbirds are doing it, and they're like tiny helicopter birds. I can't imagine Lorem having the ability for that. Wait, is that with a long or a short Y? Long one. Like, especially when you're near a wall. Like, the wall is going to provide additional feedback on your air movements, meaning you're more likely to push yourself backwards. It's why it's easier to hover a short distance above the ground compared to hovering in the air itself, you know? It's like, at some point, the entire movement of air compresses itself and becomes additional support because it's pushed against something solid and has to disperse. Ain't that a hoot and a half? There was a dream before that with the fucking bird thing, but I like the bird thing. Also, for some reason, one thing I dream a lot about is transport. And transit, and I hate transit. I hate the fact that every single time I've ever had anything in terms of internship, it's always been like, I had to go on the bus, but 3 hours a day, and I don't fucking like that. I love the idea that someone sees humans like, what the fuck's this human doing here? Like, I like to imagine that for a moment she's like, is that Reza? Like, that's... You might be like, oh, it's a human, but no, it could just be she thinks you're Reza or something. This is just so kind of goofy. There's a lot going on here. I do like the idea that apparently around the world there's like places where people put little fucking put little holes in the wall and they put like USB sticks and things in there, which is kind of neat. I think it's part of geocaching. Maybe it's like a water trough for the dragons inside the school or something. How the hell do you spell this word? Oh. Juan Itor, concierge. Now there's a word you can put on your repertoire. The concierge. I mean, it makes sense. The kids are usually the reason everything's a big mess, and the teachers go off on break, too. Why do they need the pen, though? Oh, cool, Q. I get that. It's like they turned on multiple ones at the time. That's cool. Sludge. And the mother. That's a good one. On the plus side, you clean something for a gender, won't be back for a while. I wonder why dragons, like how long their summer breaks are. Like, what are their vacation schedules like? I imagine that's one of the things they didn't do because, you know, it's easy enough to be like, the education system needs you like this, but vacations are different. Like, this is cute. Like, you're just being a bit silly. No, that's not that. Fucking screw, too. Oh, man. Oh. I like, the thing that gets me is this is a shiny screw in murky water. That's impressive. Oh, man. Good amount of light today. This kind of implies that the screw was, like, positioned in a specific location, and he just somehow managed to pull a screw out with all the ridges and... like, how? Like, Lorem clearly isn't, like, into it. It's kind of weird. It's like, oh, we're just doing my favor, but it looks all thinky. It's weird. And then that maybe, like, ugh. Like, the walls are the most logical thing to hide something, since they're most likely to be a consistent element that no one touches. No one touches the goddamn walls! No one cleans the walls unless there's, like, graffiti on it. And apparently dragons don't do graffiti all that much. Actually, I don't see graffiti all that much either. Despite there being some very graffitiable walls. It's actually kind of scaring me now that I think about it. Let's actually, let me read these actually, because I never really analyzed it too much. Okay, play sound flap. Show Lorem number the soul. Lord shift banjo. Sound loop. Okay. Mud. I kind of want to stop, because we're making good headway here. I think I'm going to stop at aha. That sounds like a nice stopping point. I'm actually liking this, because, as I said, this is just kind of you doing stuff, instead of Lorem talking about stuff. The thing is, people is Mensen for us, which also means humans, which makes a lot of conversation a little bit harder to translate. Like, here's the thing you have to imagine, like, when this guy gave Lorem the kit, like, what was the time span in which he imagined Lorem would do this? Because considering it's a coupon, didn't expect Lorem to take this long. And the funny thing is, isn't it like a coupon for, like, a shitty pizza place anyway? Like, like, again, I wonder who gave this to Lorem. Was it just a guy handing out, like, take part in our little adventurous tour and go past some places? But then again, they go through a forest, so this is probably something someone set up for Lorem, but who is it? Because it's kind of implied that Lorem doesn't really have that many real-life friends. Unless they wanted them killed. Like, it's... The thing is, you could interpret this as someone trying to kill Lorem because he sends Lorem off to his literal death in a place that's incredibly dangerous. Like, the clue goes to a place that's sunken. I don't think something just sinks like that in a couple of months. And maybe it explains later, but I don't remember that right now. But it's kind of interesting that it goes to a place like that. Like a store that it's just somewhere and it's sunken. Wouldn't water wash this away, though? Like, if it's down near the ground, wouldn't, like, rain naturally creep into it and eventually push objects out? The one thing I also don't like about this game is like, again, for one, these dates are currently static, even though they could have some integral consistency to them, where there's like, oh, if you pick this option, then Lorem later brings it up. But it doesn't do that at all, and I can tell you that because no variables are saved. But, like, how much is saved between playthroughs anyway? Like, how much... Like, the game doesn't seem to be too consistent. On one hand, system is clearly able to remember a significant portion of even just reloads, which you would remember nothing of logically. And on the other hand... Like, just think about it. You remember more and more, and characters are able to stop things from happening. And yet, like, I feel that there needs to be a little better of an explanation. Because if you do it over and over again, and I mentioned before, is it would have been cool if, as you go through good endings and unlock good endings, you get certain tiny bits of conversation that kind of hint at things. You know? Also, apparently some bugs got fixed, and I kind of want to see what they are. I think I'm going to do that right now. Give me a moment. I got to pull out a few files for this one. Which one do I want to pull out? First is second Lorem Date, and the other is Sebastian's date. Because the fixes are that Sebastian properly talks about his results. Okay, so this is you can't look at the pictures. I would have to specifically... Great. That's great. Let's click that one. News. Patches online. Interesting. Sebastian reports extraordinary results. Which is interesting. I think that means something... Oh, I see. Oh no, here it is. Oh, that's the draw, which is an interesting way of measuring it. I think I'm gonna pull that one out and see what's different. But that requires me to fucking uncompile the archive again, which takes forever. I'm not gonna do that. Yeah, whatever. I got time. Interesting. So, you can't see it right now, but I got a thing open over here on the other screen. So, the thing that changed is, let's see, points this round has been increased to 14. The first one is MC points equals larger than 13, so that's if you basically win fantastically. Then Seb's master win comes. Then it's points this round equals or larger than 14, which implies that, yeah, the original 13 that was here is not enough. So this one is increased to 13, which makes sense because it increases every round. So if there's 13 rounds, logically it would be 14 or more, so you could end up with that. The one that's at the end, the final else, is the draw. So they changed that up a bit. Let's pull open Remy Buxaplenty's one. Here we go. This took a bit of time. Like, I really need to figure this one out. Surprisingly so. Let's take a look and see what happened to Remy's town. Look at the pictures. If Remy 2 pictures, okay. Equals 0 plus 1, okay. I don't see any major changes here. Like, I wonder what I was even talking about. False equals true. False equals true memory. Yeah, these are very much the same. But I never actually got any problems with this. I'm kind of surprised that there was anything that needed to be fixed anyways. Remy 2 options. Remy 2 options was one. Remy 2 pictures. Picture scene. Yeah, I don't get what this one's problem was. There's some minor tweaks regarding, like, but that's Maya. That's like tiny little baby things. And special accessories. So that's Remy 1 options plus 1. Let me look at this one. Well, let's read it again. See if we can figure this out, this mystery. No, with Sebastian's kind of makes sense. Let's read them again. This takes a while. I don't know why. I like how every single time I want to decompile, I like forget how to decompile and have to do it all over again. Sebastian now looks extraordinary results. So that's the whole, yeah, the tie thing. Fixed an error that caused the player to never be able to talk about Remy's picture after seeing them during a second scene. Oh, so that's actually date number 3, which we haven't even seen yet. Which I would have probably commented on if this was significant. Translation work, original script writers. These are old. These are all old, so they are not like technically quantifiable. Remy 3, pictures, picture. Really? Remy 3 choice? What's this? Oh, this is the unlock. I was gonna see how different they are. Endings scene. Ending scene is greater than 0, so you can't get the true ending without that. Persistent played at Dean 2, true, still here. Remy good menu. Okay, so that's if you already got Remy's good ending, it just skips that part, I guess. Chapter 2 visited, true. Editing status is bad. Remy 2 pictures seen. Okay, so if you've seen the pictures, you can skip that Hanabaloo. Equal true. I don't see. It might help if I open this one on my other computer too. Fuck it, on to the easy connection here. Because I don't bother with this. Move to other view. Okay, gonna open on the same line, just 800 and blah blah blah. So these two are different, aren't they? Yeah. Let me line them up just right. A good way to see if they're different is to check lines total. But, oh, there is, no, yeah, there is a slight difference here. Although they almost, no, there's lines difference comes entirely out of removing several white spaces. I think it's exactly the same. It's just a picture and an option. They move the jump otherwise downward for some reason. Remy choices yes equals true. They move a lot around in very odd ways. I wonder if that's just how the compiling program works. Remy good ending 2. Okay, so that's it. These are exactly the same. There's nothing different here. So, there's the library visit, but it has to do with the pictures. Could it be that Remy 2 Pictures 2 is what matters here? That's not what I just copied, Mr. Computer Man. I copied this. Remy 2 Pictures C. This is the fixed one, isn't it? So this comes up. Okay, this is about the pictures. What the fuck am I doing? Oh, okay, this is different. Fix an error that caused the player never to talk about Remy's pictures after having seen them in the original scene. That's what it's about. But does it refer to the second one or this one? I think it refers to this one. Okay, so I need to be at line 630 for this one. I like how I'm essentially doing someone's debug work. That's really what this comes down to. Persistency pictures. Okay, so there's a persistent here. Do you live by yourself? Honestly, because never wondered. So pictures 2. Didn't you remember your pictures? Show pictures, manage pictures. Okay. So that still exists, but then what's the fix? Okay, that's there. And that's there. So what's the fix? So what stops you from being able to talk about it? What's the requirement? The requirement is Remy 2 Pictures 2. So it jumps up there, but that doesn't break anything. Nothing different there. Nothing different here. I don't get what the fix is, because I don't know what the problem is. That's the funny thing is I'm essentially bass-accurately trying to do someone's bug-fixing work. Is that I don't know what the original bug is described as. Mention the pictures is the label menu that comes up. I don't know what this is. If Remy to yourself. Gotta say, this guy does have some consistent stuff going on. C2 Pictures is also the C2 Pictures used for the image itself. Mention the pictures. Then what's going on? I don't get this. I don't think I can bug fix something that's this vague. Maybe I need to look further. No, I don't know. It would help if I know what the hell the bug was in the first place. Which I don't. In case you don't know, that kind of makes it nearly impossible to know what the hell's going on. Like, it's the effective equivalent of... Like, how do you describe this? Numerous minor text fixes. Could use some. I don't notice any, because I'm not doing that, I think. Probably noticed some things that were annoying me. I wonder what he fixed, though. I could try to check every file and compare it, but there's been so many bug fixes, and I think that the old files are actually 2 patches old now. This is why I like expanded. Like, this is why... Like, it just annoys me. Like, but what changed? But what changed? I'm way too invested in this for some reason. Why am I so invested in this? Who knows?